Pinellas County Board of Education, discussion or an action, Green Bank Industrial Park transfer of property. And I kind of let Mr. Martin bring us up to date on the issue of why we have this on the agenda, and then there's some other people that would like to make some comments that we'll give you opportunity to make comments on.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you all know, on a number of occasions, this property has been a subject of discussion at the County Commission meetings. We, some time back, actually approached the Board of Education with regard to an attempt to remove the restricted covenant that's in the deed. It's the one that requires that the property be used for economic and industrial development. As you know, the Board of Education determined in their best interest that they didn't want to do that. I understand from speaking to some Board of Education board members that they had various reasons for that, and there were a number of different reasons behind it. Obviously, the reason the Commission was interested in this is because the Commission felt that its hands were tied with regard to trying to determine what constitutes economic and industrial development, and whether or not the Commission was of a mind to invest monies on county monies to change the nature or structure of that property and maybe make it more fit for some form of economic and industrial development. And given the financial constraints on the county, the Commission determined it would probably be better to try and figure out another way to deal with the property based upon that. And the last meeting that we had, when it came up again, at your direction, I sent President Grimes a letter requesting that he come and attend in order that we could discuss it with him and to determine whether or not his board would be amenable to taking the property back. It's my understanding that property was originally purchased to build a school on that property, and there were a number of issues. I'm not fully vested in what all those issues were as to why a school wasn't built there, but that's the board's prerogative. But I believe the expressed intent of the Commission, or the expressed desire of the Commission, was we really can't do anything with it unless we can find something that absolutely fits within the ambit of the restriction of economic and industrial development. It immediately reverts back if we use it for some purpose that doesn't fit that. As we all know, Mr. Fitzgerald, who's here tonight, he approached the Commission with a request to utilize the property, and I think that kind of got the ball rolling as to whether or not an individual farmer or person utilizing the property to raise crops did in fact constitute economic and industrial development. I believe that my research indicated that was a stretch, and the Commission was concerned about going down that path. So once you look at that, you determine that the Commission's got to basically monitor what it can do, and it is limited. That possibly the best use, I believe the Commission determined, of this property is try and convey it back to the Board of Education if they would accept it back, and they are the ones that have the restrictions. They could do whatever they want with it. They could continue to maintain it as a site for industrial or economic development, or they could simply sell it, given the fact that they were in the process of doing a bond, a levy, last election. Possibly they could use it to raise funds. So that's basically where we are. And based upon those conversations in your directive, President Grimes is here tonight. And I've given him a little heads up as to the background and the history of your conversations and your concerns and issues with regard to that property.
Well, I think we brought this up just so we bring it on the table, and whether we decide one way or another or not do anything, it's just out in the open so we can kind of discuss the issue. And Mr. Grimes, if you'd like to explain your side of the point, and the Board of Education point of view, we'll listen to you, and there's some other people that want to speak too.
Ms. Beveridge is Vice President of the Board. She's here with me tonight. Whenever that come up at the Board of Education, Mr. Martin made us aware of what was going on. We looked at it a long time, very seriously. And the thoughts that come out of there was the boards before us, and I explained this to Mr. Martin, had put this restriction on there for a reason. And we didn't think, at that time, we wanted to remove it. But we also said that if you all thought planting potatoes was economic development, we wasn't going, then we was going to take it as whatever you all said at that time. Whatever you all thought was economic development, that's fine. We wasn't going to go say, well, you don't have a business there with 20 people or 30 people. What constitutes economic development? You all were clever individuals. You're as smart as we are. You know, if you said that was it, we wasn't going to do anything about it. You know, we wasn't going to come and say, you know, Mr. Fitzgerald planted 4 hills of potatoes and that's economic development, so now we don't count it as that. That's not the point. You know, watching the paper, this Greenbank property has become a hornet's nest.
Yeah.
It really has. Looking at this in the past, and it's back in the 80s, I think, whenever this was deeded to the Board of Education from the Slaven. It was intended to put businesses in the upper end of the county, to build an industrial park up there. So far, you've got one business on that property, employs probably 40-some people. If we leave it as industrial property, will we get more? Because whenever you look at the Greenbank area, Dunmore area, up to 40 people employed up there is a large number. That's a large number of people. I think as a board, we'd like to see more employment up there. It helps the tax base. It helps the school board, if that's possible.
Well, I guess what we kind of brought to the table is, you know, for the last several years, nothing has happened.
Yes.
And maybe
The sign's rotted down.
Well, you know, Mrs. Beveridge brought
Isn't that
another
right?
point while you all
The
discussed
sign was up,
Can you read it?
but the trees have grown up so much you can't read it.
It's been there a long time and there's nothing happened except for what you all done.
One problem we have as a Board of Education, I don't think the general public, if you listen to the radio, maybe on Board of Education, our schools look good, but they're falling down. We hear it. We hear it every board meeting. You know, we've had the school building authority that was just at the high school, going over everything up there, and the middle school. Our newest school is 26 years old, and our custodians does a heck of a job. They make them look really nice, but whenever you get behind the scenes, they're falling down. So you know, that's what we're looking at, and that, you know, whenever you talked about the levy, one of the biggest things on that levy was maintenance, was to get these schools back in shape. The sprinkler system down here at Monington Elementary is shot. We got a report on it last night. The Greenbank is going, the furnace is shot. They're trying to clean the furnaces at Greenbank. So, yeah, whenever you're talking about dollars, we're interested. we want to bring dollars to the Board of Education about any way legally we can, because we know down the road we're going to need it.
Mr. O'Brien, I'm sure you have something.
I have a quick comment. I'll try not to take too much time. I
Yes,
do
sir.
appreciate the opportunity to speak. A little bit of history. Under whenever Mr. Carpenter, James Carpenter, was president of the county commission, he took a chance on a young couple at Greenbank, Jacob and Linda Mick. 3 acres. At the time they moved up there was 8 employees. Right at the moment, there is 22 well-paying positions. They don't pay minimum wage. I'm not going to tell you what I make because I'm embarrassed to almost take my paycheck some weeks for what I do. We have, right now, with 22 positions, we do not have enough property to hardly park our employees' vehicles on, much less the equipment that we have. Thanks to Mr. Urban, we've been parking equipment across the street. Now that Mr. Urban passed away this week, we don't know whether that's going to happen or not. A few years back, there was a proposal for 9 acres on the backside of the property and toward the, I guess, the south of the property.
have that plat here that was proposed. It was kicked around kind of like a basketball. One commission meeting we would get approval for it. The next commission meeting we wouldn't. Of course, you know, that's the history on that. I don't know where this conversation is going to go to tonight. I'm just not exactly sure what direction you all are going to go in. But to maintain those 22 jobs, which is taking care of, if you count all the family members, we're putting food on the table, clothes on their back, paying taxes in the county for probably about 120, 130 family members. They are well-paying jobs, but we're to the point we're going to have to, if we don't get this property, or some property somewhere close, we're going to be losing jobs because we're going to have to move part of the operation somewhere. And so whatever your decision is, I would like you to at least consider keeping this 9 acres out, turning it over to Greenbrier Economic Development Board, and letting Jacob Mick and us lease it so that we can maintain those 22 jobs that are in Greenbank. I think it's good for the county. You know, there's been a lot of half-truths told about Jacob and Melinda. Somebody hears some of these half-truths, if they stop by, we'll give them the full story. There's nothing hidden up there. And right at the moment that I'll shut up, and as the conversation goes along, I may have to hold up my hand and ask to rebut somebody's comment in case it's a half-truth, but that is what I would like for you all to consider. Maintaining 22 jobs and possibly increasing more if we had some more room.
Well, I don't think we're in a big rush to decide on anything tonight. I think we were just throwing this out on the table. Our problem is, you know, as a commission, we can't sell the property. Like you said, we have to turn it over to the development authority, and they can sell it or rent it. But as far as the commission, we can't. Now, as far as the Board of Education, I think you all can sell property.
We can. Your deed's not restricted.
And that's the
Well,
reason.
the old deed.
Is that
From the Slaven
That's
system,
correct.
it's not restricted.
It's not restricted.
The Board of Education
That's
restricted
one
the deed to
reason
the county
we were-
commission.
where we're talking with the board or discussing with the board? They have a lot more authority as far as handling the land themselves than the commission does it itself.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted you to know we were interested in whichever way it goes.
Well, as far as the commission, I know myself, I'm sure these gentlemen too, you know, we want something, and the Mex have done a wonderful job in that area, and we want to support them, and or any other business it could be put there. But we were just looking to an alternative way of maybe turning it over or selling it or transferring it to,
Well, you know,
for the best interest of the county and the jobs that could be provided.
that's what we're after too, is for the best interest of 22 good employees and their families and the county.
And if it's to turn that property over, we decide to do that for the development authority, you know, that might be the way to go. But we're here to discuss this issue, and Mr. Martin has done some research on what we can do and what we can't do. And we want the Board of Education input into it because we know their concerns too, that they have a tough budget, even worse than what we do as commissioners.
I would rather see the Board of Education take that property back, or you all, I don't want to say take it back, I'd rather see you all give it to us than go to the Greenbrier Valley. There's some reasons for that. What they built a building up here on the hill at Edry that sat there for 7 years, and it's probably going to sit there for 15 more. That nobody's ever going to get in, because it's got to sit there for 20 years because the state and federal government will not release the liens again. As a school board, what, 2 years ago?
David.
Last summer.
Last year, we made a proposal to the Greenbrier Development Authority. That's as far as it went.
Well,
It never went any further.
I'm
So,
part of it, and as far as getting those loans released, we can't do it. I mean, they specifically say that they go to, like this, to economic development or to a company that's gonna provide jobs, which the Board of Education would provide jobs, but, when you deal with the government, it's tough to get those things released like that. But, I understand your point there too. Unless we can turn over the Development Authority with a strict purpose of going to a lease agreement with, somebody to provide jobs. Now, that's something Mr. Martin can answer for us too. If we could put that in an agreement, if we do transfer it, would that work as far as the Board of Education concerns?
I'd rather have it back.
We're all here to represent Pocahontas County, okay? I would like to see that remain in Pocahontas County. I know, Mr. Beard, you're on the Green Bar Development of Economic Development, and God bless you for that. But my concerns are Pocahontas County Board of Education and Pocahontas County in general. And I think we need to keep that land in Pocahontas County, in the hands of the Pocahontas County or government, either the Board of Education or the County Commission.
Well, can I also state, we don't care who we get it from. We just need the property to maintain 22 jobs. Always before we were told it had to go through the Economic Board. If it can go through the Board of Education, and I think the Board of Education knows now that we would be interested in this 9 acres. We don't care as long as we can get the property.
We're well aware of that. I've got calls.
The property Mr. McGough wasn't free.
No, we're paying every month whenever he opens up that door, he pays big bucks.
Pretty good dollar. I think it was $14,600 an acre.
Yeah, I think so, or $16,000
Per acre.
Per acre.
And the appraised value would probably be less now than what it was
Than
back
what it
then.
was back
since the
then.
economy is-
Yes.
You probably ought to hear from the other people.
Oh, yes,
Yeah, I'm sorry that, I feel sort of responsible for causing this bee's nest. And then Mr. Alderman over there, or Mr. Anonymous, whatever you want to call him. And I don't blame you guys for wanting to give it away, get rid of it and everything else after what I went through for the last 6 or 7 months and listening to out of his mouth. And I feel that it should go back to the Board of Education if, in the agreements that Mr. Meck or somebody would get some use out of it. Because it would be up to them and they wouldn't have the stipulation, they could put any stipulations they wanted to on it. But like I said, I would like to see Jacob, because he is thriving, he is he got good business going there, and I'd like to see anybody use the rest of it. And if you guys don't want to take the responsibility, and like I said, I understand why. I mean, it's been pretty trying for me to keep my cool with some people here in the county over some of the comments and lies and things that's been going on.
Go ahead and explain what the lies are.
Well, let me get over here close to you so you can understand it a little bit better.
I have a little problem hearing in my right ear, so you sit right
Okay.
there. Be fine with me. He's gonna tell me what the lies
Hey,
are.
one person at a time.
I won't talk.
Well, you should know. You posted them all on your...
Okay, tell him.
Tell them, well, what's this? I'm going to grow marijuana up there and fertilize it with Mr. Nick's raw sewer.
I didn't say that.
Who did?
I don't know.
It's on
Somebody who doesn't care much for you.
you. Really?
That's right.
You know what, we need to stop this.
Yes, we do.
We got
Yes,
a
we do.
meeting to run and you know,
You're right.
this kind of stuff won't get us anywhere.
You're right. I'm sorry. Very sorry.
Mr. Alderman, you have your name on.
Right. But I need a personal favor. I need you to hold your, that diagram that Mr. O'Brien gave you a moment. Would you hold it up so I can see it?
I'll give you a copy of it.
Huh?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can have a copy of it.
Oh my gosh. You have taken the computer to this thing and you've extracted those 6 sewage pits,
We do not need those 6 sewage pits anymore, sir.
but you did at one time.
No, sir, that was another half
No,
truth
you
that
don't
was
want
told.
Oh, and that's a whole
This
truth.
is
don't
going,
want this.
this is going the same
Hey,
direction
if
the
you're
other
not
was, sir.
Now, I'm going to
If you
talk,
would like
but
to go outside and talk about it, I'll
he
gladly
said
go out
that
and talk
he
with you.
was going to correct the half-truths. I've got the truth here. Jamie Walker knows I have the truth because he had a copy of that deed when they transferred it. And he knows the pits are there, don't you, Jamie?
Well, we never did transfer it, did we?
Oh, yes, you guys voted it back. We came and told you what was going on and you took it back.
Yeah, but it was never actually transferred.
Okay, now that's just that's a minor point.
But that's not what we're here to discuss tonight. We're here to discuss whether we want to keep it or we want to give it back to the Board of Education.
All right, but
What was going to happen with the property is irrelevant at this point.
you knew what was going to happen
I
to
know
it.
exactly what was on the drawing to happen, but that's not what we're discussing tonight.
Okay. I just wanted to point out that they have corrected this diagram and removed those. I'm glad you did. The people of this county want to know. That's why we were getting petitions up, to stop you from doing that. Now, let's go. 1990, I was on the county commission. This is my document. I'll claim it. I'll own it. You know, the first month or so when I became a county commissioner, I was sitting here, and I don't know where at. I think the tables were around this way. And there was a fellow in jail by the name of Alan Corey. Now, Alan Corey had a big fancy idea that he was going to put a sawmill on the Slaven property. Dave, you know what I'm talking about.
I remember.
What happened to him?
He flew away.
Yeah, he was gone.
Henry knows it.
Yes, Emery, you know what I'm talking about. The second thing I want to mention here is I happen to agree with Emery on something. We don't agree on much. The Board of Education can't afford to upkeep that property. You can. You can do it. You have the money. You have hotel motel tax money. Right, Emery? You would have them have the burden. You would want your Board of Education to have the burden of taking care of that property when they can't even take care of their own property.
I'm here to discuss it with the Board of Education.
But that's fine. I just want people to know very clearly what we're talking about here. The Board of Education can't afford this. Our kids need books more.
Mr. Alder, County Commission hadn't put a penny into that property in the last, how many years?
Is that right? Since you've been on
We
the
haven't put
commission?
1 penny into it. It's being mowed and taken care of by the Grimeses, cleaned up. We don't pay a
The
penny.
Grimeses, which Grimeses?
Uh,
Not Emery.
No.
Henry and
Mark.
Okay. So you've been making money on it.
No, we're not making a penny on it.
Well, who said you're just giving the hay away?
They keeping it clean.
Oh, is that what you call it?
Well,
There's other
If you
people.
don't mow it, thorns and everything else gonna
Okay.
grow up in it.
They've
I
done it
agree.
for years.
You want to say you keep it clean. You know, are you aware that you have a building that takes in $8,000 a month? Yes, you do. You don't get a penny of it, do you? You could use that for this property. Fix it up. No, sir. You send it to the Greenbar Valley. Emery, that's where I agree with you on that. Please, don't give it to the Greenbar Valley Authority. This man wants to get himself one hunker of a good deal as soon as he can get to Greenbar Valley. He'll get a 99-year lease on it. Now, you're in a face with a situation that all he did was take away the 6 sewage pits. He's not said a word here. What'd you say? What'd you tell us?
Mr. Alderman, if you would like to step outside and talk about it, I'll gladly go tell you the truth about it. This is
I
not
want you to
the
tell
place
me the
do it.
truth on this camera.
Mr. President.
If you've got the truth. Now,
We're just
let me go just a bit further.
I'll give you a minute and that's it.
Okay.
You're not helping, Norm.
What's wrong with this? It is understood and agreed by and between the parties and covenanted by the real estate herein conveyed shall be done for the purposes of economic and industrial development. Why? No problem with that. I don't have a problem with it. And no other. In other words, you can't turn it into something, give it away, and then try to take the deed restriction of it. If in the event the real estate herein conveyed ceases to be used or considered for economic or industrial development, and particularly in the event that the grantees herein should attempt any assignment, any assignment. You know, I would consider that if this eventually goes to where you put it in private hands, that you violated that clause right here tonight. And the grantees there should attempt any assignment or alienation which would vest the real estate herein conveyed in private non-commercial hands, then such event the real estate shall be immediately conveyed. Now you can get it back. All you have to do is let someone privately use this thing for a non-commercial purpose. It'll be gone. And you won't even have to use your lawyer on it. You can just let it go.
Thank you. Well, we'll,
Mr. Beard, one further
Yes,
thing.
sir.
If you all decide that you want to give this property back to the Board of Education, have Mr. Martin send me another summons. And
I sent you a nice letter.
you did, and take it, we'll take it in front of our board. That's what we'll have to do at that point.
well, you gentlemen,
That's the road I'd like to go. Just let Mr. Martin present that to the board and see what the board says about it and come back. And we're going to consider, I'd like for us in the interim to consider what Mr. O'Brien's asking with that 9 acres.
We want it all.
what's that?
If we're going to accept it, we want to accept it all, Mr. McLaughlin, at that point. And then we can
You'll do that.
Well,
get some plans.
Well, I think the
Let's do
board,
that.
board wants to help in any way they can with the county as far as
Well, we appreciate it. We
develop
appreciate the
our
work you all do
economic
and help
life
us.
of this county, yeah.
We do.
But,
We appreciate it.
but you all do have the authority to do a lot more with it than what we can.
What you're not hearing is the Board of Education owns land behind that too, that goes back from the green boxes down through to the Bob Sheets property. There's some timber and stuff in there, you know.
Forestry department worked in there a lot,
Yes,
high school.
yes. So there's more property than just what the county commission has got and the mix that's behind there. In fact, we just give an acre and a half to the solid waste authority.
Right of way.
Mr. Martin, you typed that up for us because they needed more room. You know, when it was tight there. Whenever you pulled in, you had to turn around. So, you know, we just give them probably an acre and a half, whatever it was, to the solid waste authority off of our property that we own back
Mr. Walker?
Well, just from what I've gathered of everybody said, I think it would be a benefit, number one, to keep it in the county. I've always thought that, but unfortunately, our hands has been tied. And whether it's jobs or farming or whatever, there's just always complaints and restrictions and problems with it. And I think with the Board of Education retaining ownership of it, a lot of that would be relieved and put it back to not near as many guidelines and restrictions and hoops to jump through on it, where they could lease it, sell it, keep it, whatever they would
build a school.
decide to do with it. So I'm all in favor of deeding it back over to them and letting them hopefully work with Johnny and Mr. Meg, whoever else that would be interested in it, to just put anything on it.
Yeah, I just wanted you to be aware that we were interested, whoever gets it, we're interested in the 9 acres.
Well, I knew that all along.
And we need the 9 acres to maintain those 22 well-paying positions. And that was the main reason I was here, and I appreciate you all listening to me. And
Well, I think most all of us agree that any kind of business, especially like the next, is wrong. But as far as the county commission, we're in full support of any business like that or others that could grow in this county. And we were just trying to find the best purpose for the land, the easiest method to turn it over to somebody that will.
that is fine as long as Mr. Grimes, and I think Mr. Grimes knows that we're very interested and need that property to maintain those jobs.
Well, I think we ought to have a motion to move towards what, to talk with the Board of Education over the transfer of the land.
What we'll have to do is have Mr. Martin to write up something, and we'll have to put it on our agenda, Mr. Martin. And then the board will have to vote on whether, just like we did on the generator.